one that introduced the speaker, but today I am the speaker. I am the graduate assistant for the Faculty Staff Wellness Program. And today we're going to be talking about a new way to look at exercise. This is a topic that I'm pretty excited about just because this is what I like to do. I like to find new ways to make exercise fun. I like to try and get people to like what they do with exercise, because if you don't like it, you're not going to continue it. And so we're going to talk about that today. So to begin, we're just going to start with the what, when, where, why, and how of exercise. So just going to start with a little bit of base knowledge. So why is exercise important? I sent this video out a while ago to some individuals in the wellness program, so you might have seen this before, but I think it's fabulous. So if you have, I think it's okay because it's fun to watch again. That's one of my favorite videos ever. And I think it makes a great point. I like the way they turn it around. Instead of saying fit half an hour exercise in your day, just limit your sitting and sleeping to 23 and a half hours. And that's what I'm kind of wanting to get at today when I talk about a new way to look at exercise. It doesn't have to be in the weight room. It doesn't have to be the hardest exercise where you're panting and just find yourself just really working out hard and it's really hard for you. It can be walking. It can be something as simple as that. And I mean, we're not talking about weight loss here, but we're just talking about general health and the differences it can make in your health just by standing up and walking around for 30 minutes out of your day. But let's also make it fun, and that's also can be challenging. So let's kind of segue here to reasons why people don't exercise. Time, we kind of just hit that there on the head with that video. You know, people don't have time in their day. The convenience of location, driving to a gym. You know, sometimes I can add 40 minutes onto how much time it takes for you to work out. If you're driving 20 minutes to a gym and then you work out there for, 40 minutes, and then you're driving 20 minutes back, and then showering and all that, it can be a big chunk out of your day. And so convenience of location can be a problem. Cost is a huge issue with why people can't get healthy in America. Equipment can be extremely expensive. Gym memberships can be expensive. Personal trainers are very expensive. Gas location is expensive, getting even more expensive. So there's a lot of obstacles in your way on why you can't exercise, and that's something I have come to understand when I started working with the general population. Coming out of college, being a collegiate athlete, for me, exercise is second nature. I've done it my entire life. But how now can I go and ask people to exercise? And at first, when I started working with the general population, there was a disconnect, because for me, it was just like, how can you not just fit this into your day? And then I started to realize there's a whole bunch of obstacles that make it really difficult. And so let's try and combat some of these obstacles. So I'm the GA for the Faculty Staff Wellness Program. So one of the reasons I really love being a GA for the Faculty Staff Wellness Program because it attacks a whole bunch of these problems. One, the time of the exercise classes. It's before work, at lunch, or at the end of your day, so it doesn't conflict with work. It's on campus. It's a 5-minute walk to the Recplex. The costs for the classes are $20 for the whole semester, and you don't have to pay to get into the Recplex anymore if you just want to do the classes. But another obstacle is knowledge. People don't really know where to start sometimes. You tell people they got to work out, and sometimes people can walk into a gym and just feel completely lost. And I can understand what that's like, somewhat. Obviously not as much as because I've exercised my whole life, but it can be intimidating to walk into a gym with all this different equipment and not really know what to do with it. So let's start talking about getting some knowledge. So first I'm going to talk about resistance training and what it is and the facts surrounding it, and cardiovascular training and what counts as cardiovascular training. So how much exercise do we need? So the American College of Sports Medicine came up with these guidelines, and I like to compare these guidelines with the Surgeon General's recommendations with smoking. Everyone knows with smoking, you know, the problems that can come because the Surgeon General is always putting in your face, you know, the cancers, all the issues that come with smoking. Well, what's interesting to me is a lot of people can't cite these guidelines, which are not just given as a, this is something you should think about doing, it's given as a, this is what you have to be doing in order to maintain your health. And it's really important. So, resistance training. It's really basic. You have to do 8 to 10 exercises, 2 to 3 non-consecutive days of the week, 2 to 4 sets, and a weight, you have to choose a weight that you can do 8 to 12 reps of. So you could literally knock this out, 2 sets of 8 reps, or 8 different exercises. You could probably do that in 10 minutes. And we'll do some stuff at the end of the day. I can show you a 10-minute workout here to just kind of prove that it can be done. And then just with technique, you need to get full range of motion, exhale while you're doing the lifting, and inhale while you're lowering. And then with the cardiovascular training, it is suggested that you get 5 times a week for 30 minutes at 50 to 70% of your heart rate max. So heart rate max, how do you calculate that? Really simple. It's 220 minus your age. That's a rough estimate of what your max is. Okay, so for me, I'm 24. Wow. Okay. So 220 minus my age is 196. So that's a rough estimate of how many beats per minute my heart can do on maximum. And heart rate max is not trainable. You can't train. So as fit as I am, I won't be able to train my heart rate max to be higher or lower or any of those above. This is something that just decreases as you age, just naturally. What you can train your resting heart rate. So when I'm just sitting here, you know, how hard my heart is working, I can train that. And how my heart reacts to exercise can be trained. But your heart rate max can't be trained. So it's 220 minus your age is your heart rate max.
I missed it. What's the 220?
It's just an equation.
Equation?
Yeah, it's just an equation people use to quickly estimate heart rate max. So 196 beats per minute, okay? And to get 50 to 70%, you just times it by 0.5, times it by 0.7, and that will give you your range, okay? So, I mean, at the low end here, I'm going to be around 100 beats. At the high end, around maybe 140, 150. And so that would be my range there. So basically, I just have to get my heart rate above 100 beats per minute 5 times a week for 30 minutes, okay? So that's roughly with the walking. I'm going to have everyone take their heart rate right now, okay? So everyone can just find their pulse and let me know. Okay, everyone found it? All right. No, fine, you're fine. And I'm just going to have you count the beats, okay? And I will tell you when to start. Everyone found it? Okay, start. Stop. Okay, now take that number and multiply it by 4. So say I got 20 beats, I just counted 20 beats. So I gave you 15 seconds there, okay? So say I got 20 beats in that 15 seconds, and multiply that by 4, that'll give me 80 beats per minute. So if you were around 20, you're just sitting there at 80 beats per minute. So really, you just need to get up, and you can just stand up in your chair and down in your chair, and that will get your heart rate probably above 100. So it doesn't really take that much effort. And that's what I think people kind of forget, is people always think exercise has to be this really difficult thing. It doesn't. It's not that hard to get your heart rate up over 100, but you can't just sit there and get it there. So, the options here. 5 times a week for 30 minutes at 50 to 70%, or you can go 3 times a week for 20 minutes for above 70%. So this is a more vigorous workout here. All right, but you're just trying to get, so with higher intensity, less time. So we're just kind of overviewing now some of the things that were hit on the video, the recommendations with exercise. All right, next I want to move into resistance training and talk about kind of the facts surrounding it. So I gave you guys a handout. It's Resistance Training is Medicine. And this is based on a review done by Dr. Wayne Westcott, and he is a fitness research director and consultant for many national organizations, including the American Council on Exercise. He received many awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the International Association of Fitness Professionals. And he compiled this review on the effects of strength training on health, and he's the one that suggested resistance training is medicine, much like the theme that was with the video. And I just kind of want to touch on a few of these that are kind of big. And the first one is the reverse of muscle loss. So as you age, if you do not do any resistance training, your muscle mass decreases. It's just part of aging. It's called sarcopenia. And muscle mass declines between 3 to 5% per decade after the age of 30, and then 5 to 10% per decade after the age of 50. And relatively brief sessions of regular resistance training can increase muscle mass in adults of all ages. So 10 minutes twice a week, getting those 8 exercises, 2 sets of 8 reps each exercise, can help eliminate this problem. You can increase your muscle mass or maintain your muscle mass more accurately as long as you're just doing some sort of resistance training. Now, it also can recharge metabolism. So with the decrease in muscle mass with age, metabolism decreases, which leads to an increase in body fat. So we kind of talked a little bit, if you're at my nutrition brown bag, about metabolism, but we'll do just a quick review here about the way metabolism works. All right? So when we're talking about nutrition, you have this line kind of represents metabolism. Okay? So if you're eating exactly what you're burning throughout the day, this would be this line right here. Okay? And then you have an upper limit where you're going to be storing fat, and a lower limit where you're going to be eating at muscle. Okay? So, this line kind of represents metabolism, where yours is. Now, it is pretty much impossible to maintain this line right here when you're eating, because you'd have to be basically feeding to the exact number of calories you're burning as you're burning them. And so what you want to try and do when you're eating with nutrition is stay close to this line, okay? Because if you overeat, you're going to be coming up here and you're going to be storing any excess as fat. And if you don't eat enough, often enough, and you get that feeling of starvation, you're going to be coming down here and starting eating at your muscle, okay? And so you can start to lose lean muscle mass. All right. So the average American, they will skip breakfast. So they'll come here and they'll be hungry because they fasted while they slept. You don't eat for 8 hours, it's fasting. And they skip breakfast and they come down here and they start eating at their muscle. And then they get really hungry and then they eat a huge meal because they're really hungry and then they store the excess as fat. And then after that, they feel really guilty, so they don't eat again for a really long time, and they start getting back, and they start starving again by the end of the day, and they're eating at their muscle, and then they come back here and they eat a huge dinner, and then they're storing fat, and then they go back to sleep and they fast for the night. And so this is why you can see why a lot of times as people age, they lose muscle mass and they're gaining body fat. Okay? So what you want to try and do is eat smaller meals throughout the day to keep yourself close to this line. But what happens with your metabolism as you age, if you don't do any strength training, is this line moves lower. Because if you have less muscle, so your muscle is using energy all day long, just to live, okay? So I gave you last brown bag your body weight times 10 is about how many calories you need to take in a day if you're not doing any exercise. So for me, around 170 pounds, around 1,700 calories a day if I'm not doing any exercise. Now, if I start turning my body and losing muscle, and that muscle just get that 1,700 calories a day, I don't use that many calories a day because I have less muscle. Because your fat weight doesn't use any calories, it doesn't use any energy, it just sits there. And so if I have less muscle, I need less calories for the day. Alright, so this is why you're shifting your metabolism down here. Because here I need 1,700 a day, but as I age and I don't do any strength training and my muscle decreases, I need less calories for the day. Okay? So that's why resistance training is really important to have. But regular resistance training can increase energy expenditure at rest by 100 calories a day or more. That's a big difference. And it has to do with not just like the resistance training. We're not talking about what you're burning while you're doing the resistance training. We're talking about just your body starts warming itself up, because if it gets used to doing exercise, doing resistance training, doing any exercise, it starts preparing itself throughout the day for that work. But if you don't do anything with your body, then it kind of just sits there and doesn't do anything. So you can actually just throughout the day, I can move myself from 1,700 to 1,800 just by doing regular exercise. Okay? Reducing body fat. So 80% of men and 70% of women over the age of 60 are considered overweight or obese in America. And it's predicted that there's even a higher percentage that have excess body fat. Now, they do the calculation of people that are overweight or obese by BMI. So BMI is body mass index. It's your height divided by, or your weight divided by your height squared. And a BMI of 25 or over is overweight. Now, BMI can be a little bit unreliable in both ways. For me, because I carry excess muscle mass, I'm almost always getting close to that overweight category when I do my BMI, just because muscle weighs more than fat. But it goes the opposite way as well. If I'm carrying less than the average amount of muscle, then my BMI will be higher than what it is supposed to be. So, or be less than what it's supposed to be, because again, muscle weighs more than fat. So that when they did this, and they considered people that are overweight or obese, they're assuming that they have a regular amount of muscle. But like I just said, people aren't resistance training, they're not carrying a lot of muscle, so it's actually predicted that those numbers are a little higher. But 2 20-minute circuit resistance training sessions a week is associated with excess calorie burn of 5,000 calories a month. And that's because you're going to get that 100 extra calories a day just because your body's getting warmed up. And then the 250 calories for the workout, because circuit resistance training keeps your heart rate up. And that's 5,000 extra calories a month. And there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. So that's we're getting close to 2 pounds a month there. That's a big difference. Facilitating physical function. So aging is accompanied by gradual reduction in ability to perform activities of daily living. You've seen this in elderly populations. With my grandparents, I see this. And in one study, nursing home residents performed just one set of 6 machine exercises twice a week for 14 weeks. And at the end, participants had increased their strength by 60%. That's a big amount. So we're looking at people that are around the age of 89, okay? So they haven't been doing a lot of resistance training. And just by implementing one set of 6 exercises twice a week, they were able to increase their strength by 60%. So this added 1.7 kilograms of muscle mass to them and improved their functional independence by 14%. So this is when we're talking about quality of life. With exercise, if you don't do it, your quality of life is what will diminish, okay? So, and people, a lot of times there's a motivational factor when you're young, because you're like, well, I'll do it later, it'll affect me later. But I don't know if any of you ever read the book, The Cure and the Culprit, but one of the things that it says in there is, it talks about how you can extend how many good years you get if you start exercising earlier. So if you get on a regular exercise regimen, you, instead of having the 10 years of poor physical functioning at the end of your life, you can shorten that to like maybe a year or maybe none if you're doing it earlier, if you're doing regular exercise earlier. So, you know, this facilitating physical function, it might not hit home with a lot of people now, but you want it to because it'll affect you later on. I want to talk about how improvement of cardiovascular health. So cardiovascular disease causes 1 in 3 deaths reported each year in the United States. And resistance training is found to be at least as effective as aerobic endurance training in reducing some major cardiovascular disease risk factors. So again, this is getting back to, it doesn't have to be hard. Resistance training counts. Okay, it's getting that heart rate over 100 beats per minute, and you're reducing your cardiovascular risk factors. Last one I want to talk about, which is pretty important. All of them are important, so that's why I gave it to you so you can go through them. But with the increasing bone mineral density. So according to National Osteoporosis Foundation, approximately 10 million adults, 8 million of those are women, have osteoporosis. And almost 35 million others have insufficient bone mass, which is called osteopenia. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services estimates that 30% of women and 15% of men will experience bone fractures due to osteoporosis. Research revealed that the loss of muscle mass, called sarcopenia, is associated with bone loss. So adults who do not perform resistance training may experience 1 to 3% reduction in bone mineral density every year of life. So then we're getting some pretty frail bones. And so exercise interventions that promote muscle gain also may be expected to increase bone mineral density, which makes sense. Resistance training is associated positively with high bone mineral density in both younger and older adults, and may have more of a potent effect on bone density than other types of physical activity. So this is just the facts with resistance training. You know, everyone knows that there's a problem with obesity in America and people being overweight. But I kind of want to lay out how serious the problem is, but then also come back to how easy it is to fix this problem. So let's talk about some unconventional strength training. No equipment. So say you don't have equipment, say you don't want to go to a gym. You don't have to. I'm actually going to bring Dwight up here to demonstrate some of the exercises. I gave you guys a little cheat sheet here of some bodyweight exercises. And a lot of you might know them, but I'm going to have everyone kind of stand up and try them still. Okay? So, with push-ups, there's many levels of push-ups. You can do them on the wall, you can do them on a ledge, like this. You can do them on the floor on your knees, and then you can do them on the floor on your feet, okay? And so, it's all progressions. So you can start, the easiest, the higher you are to the wall is the easiest. And then as you get lower with your body, the harder they get. Okay, so everyone just try a few push-ups, find out what level it works for you. If you find a wall, and Dwight can demonstrate for us here on the wall. So it's just hands, bring your chest to the wall, pushing straight up. The more you lean into the wall, the harder it's going to get. Okay? Find a ledge, might try the floor. Okay, and then the tricep sphinx while we're in this position. So you're just going to put your forearms flat on the wall, and then you're going to push straight up with your arms. So Dwight can demonstrate that. Push straight up with your arms. Your forearms are going to be flat, and push straight up with your arms.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the tricep sphinx. Okay? Now if you're not really feeling it, you just want to go a little lower. That's the only problem. That will increase the intensity. Bodyweight squats. So when you're squatting, okay, you want to throw hips back, and your knees don't want to come over your toes. So go ahead, Dwight, and do that. Great one. I don't know who you're talking to. If you have bad knees, okay, sit down, stand up. So that's also on this list. So I grab a seat, and I'd sit down in the seat, and then stand up out of it. Yeah, same thing, it's just a little less intense on the knees. And we do it every day. So I love taking exercise that you do every day and making them functional. A really, really tough one, if you want to try it, one of my favorites, is called a lay down stand up. Okay? So Dwight, you want to demonstrate that one? That one you lay all the way down onto the floor, and then you stand up. You do this every morning when you get out of bed. Try doing 10 of them in a row. Does anyone want to try a few of them? Anyone? No? Okay, I dare you guys to go home and try this one 10 times in a row. It's a killer for even me, okay? All right, everyone can go and sit down. There's a few more on this list though. There's stairs, hip lifts, so that's when your feet are flat on the floor, you lift your hips off the ground. Superman's, you're lying on your stomach, you lift your arms and your feet, it kind of looks like you're flying. Okay, so here's just a quick cheat sheet of exercises that you can do that you don't need any equipment for.
So we don't need to come to class anymore then,
Right. Exactly.
We enjoy your company.
Thank you.
But I really wanted to give you guys this list because to show you it doesn't have to be that difficult. So if you did, 8 of these exercises, 2 sets times 10, then you could do that in 10 minutes, and you'd be twice a week, and you'd knock out what you need to do for resistance training, and be able to reap some of the benefits that I was just talking about. So it doesn't have to be that hard. Next, I want to kind of do some resistance band stuff. So everyone grab one of these and grab a partner. Grab a partner and grab a resistance band.
Good.
Okay. So I also gave you guys a list of resistance band exercises. You can get a resistance band at Walmart for $5. So not that expensive. So we're combating the cost problem. And then I gave you guys a list, also one of the handouts, of a bunch of exercises. So let's go through some of these. So what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself inside, one partner is going to put themselves inside the band, okay? And face away from your other partner. Okay, so you're going to hold on to that. Alright? So chest press, okay? So all you're doing is pushing that resistance band away from you. Okay, step a little further away, it gets a little harder. Okay?
Can you hold it?
Yes, but don't turn now.
Everyone try some of those, yeah? Now, if you don't have a partner,
Let me try.
it's really about just hooking it up to something. So here I have one hooked up to the door handle. I just pulled the band through itself. Step into it,
Yeah, right there.
push away.
Oh, I like that.
Okay?
Let me
So you
try.
don't need a partner. You just need a band. Alright, so everyone can try some of those.
That's good.
Okay.
Yes, make sure you
I
pull
like
in your
that.
cord.
That was not bad. That's nice.
Yeah.
And the door is good too.
Yes.
Because you don't.
Okay, and then face each other.
I did that.
Space out a little bit. And pull it towards you now. Now we're getting the back. So we just did the chest. Now we're getting the back.
I can feel it.
Yeah. Need it harder, step further away. Same thing with the door jam. Don't need a partner. Great.
That's a nice.
Okay. Let's do straight arm twist. So between you and your partner, so have you two face that wall still holding the resistance band. Go straight arms and twist away from each. So you hold your arms straight out and you twist away. So pull that way. Yeah. So you're gonna try and get a full twist, all right? So you're gonna be here. You're just gonna try and get a full twist with your whole body, okay? And your other partner is gonna hold. And they're actually getting just as difficult at working just by holding it straight out.
Okay, you twist.
I'm gonna hold good.
Perfect. Yeah. So you can go one then the other, or you can go 10 in a row and then go 10 in a row. Yeah.
Holding on, it's really a good workout.
Right. Yeah, the stabilization, this is a great muscle for the trunk and core. Right? The stabilization was as difficult, but again, you can just do this against a wall. Okay. Now let's go one at a time. So let's step on the band. Okay? So you're gonna step on the band. I didn't really plan tan well today when I wore my skirt and heels. But, step on the band and just bring the resistance band to your chin. That's called a chin lift. And keep those elbows nice and high. There you go. Yeah. So that's the exercise for your shoulders. Okay, try a few and then let your partner try. Okay, and then step on, let's hold on that band and stepping on it. Now turn your hands around and let's bicep curl that. Yeah, you can get all different sizes of resistance bands. Yeah, if it's too much, you can always step one foot instead of both feet into the bands. If you need a little more, you step your feet a little wider on the band. That'll make it a little tougher. Yeah.
Are they consistent, so they're always?
It depends on the brand. Yeah.
Because we have a set, and they're colored on, I think I've seen it. They're red, yellow, and green.
Yeah. A lot of times it's the green would be the easiest, red's the hardest. But it depends on the brand, yeah. Okay, next one with your partner, facing them. This one's for triceps. Okay, you're gonna stand away, lock your elbows into your body, and then just straighten your arms down. Okay? So you can bend your knees just a little bit, lock your elbows into your body, and then just straighten your arms down. So this is comparable to the Sphinx we did on the wall.
Keep bending your knees or stand.
No, just stand with your knees bent, yeah?
No.
Oh, we're going down.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go, great. Alright, so you're just gonna stay in
All
that
right.
position. Pull your elbows back.
Yeah.
There. Pull your elbows back. By your elbows.
Yeah.
Go back down. Yeah, and you just hold it. That's for the triceps. Yeah, it just helps you get a bit of weight. Okay. Let's go with some monster walks. So we're gonna wrap this thing around your ankles. Okay. Wrap it around twice. Okay. I'm gonna take these off of this. Put it around your feet. Keeping the band nice and tight. Stepping sideways. Okay. So you do side steps both ways, and you got forwards and backwards. And this one, you should feel a nice burn right in the butt. So do about 10 each direction.
I'm going, but I get nowhere.
Forward and backwards. Yeah, great job.
I know it. See us all walking around campus.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, once you're done that one, you're gonna hold the resistance band on each end and pull it apart from itself.
You just.
Back exercise, yeah? Rotating the muscles. Yeah, just like that. So if it's too easy, hold it a little closer together. Okay, last one I'll show you. You're gonna step on one side of it. Okay, you're gonna step out to the side and put your elbow high. This side. That's gonna get your shoulder. Yeah.
This same time?
Perfect. Yep. The farther you step out, the harder it's gonna be, so the tighter the band will get.
We keep it.
Elbow high, yeah.
Elbow high.
That's it, Rosie.
Can you do that again, Kendall? You
Yeah,
should-
so you're just stepping to the side and pulling your elbow high. I can't step that wide in the skirt, but the wider you step, the harder it gets.
I can't do this shoulder.
Yeah, some,
I
yeah,
can't do it on that shoulder.
yeah. Okay.
You have to open it too,
All right, last one. Show you go for your legs. Okay, you put the band around your shoulders and then you step into the band
huh? We do it.
and you step wide. Okay, you can squat, do that squat and stand up. Remember, keep your knees wide, okay? And also, so you can do the squat and stand up, and you can also bend over and stand up. Those are two different exercises. So bend over, stand up is gonna be for the back of your legs, for your hamstrings. And squat, yeah, good. Remember, hips back. You always want, when you squat, you always want to feel like you're on your heels. If you're on your toes, if all your weight's to your toes, it's likely that your knees are coming forward. Really good. All right, so that was like 5 minutes, and you guys just learned 10 new exercises. Have them all on your sheet. Not too hard to do every day. One piece of equipment.
She said, what's about, the weight should be raised?
And then spread your feet out.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions on any of those?
Pull up.
Okay, how about the other one, where there's like this, the squat?
You squat.
She's still on the heel.
You sit back on your heels.
Uh-huh, no, okay.
Thanks, Rosie.
Thank you.
Okay. So just to finish up here, another piece of equipment, if you just want one piece of equipment, it's called TRX. You can actually get a version of a TRX for TRXs themselves are actually pretty expensive, but you can get a version of a TRX for like $17 at Walmart. And you can do a whole bunch of different exercises with that. So there's a picture there at the bottom. So, unconventional cardio, just want to end quickly with this. Remember, it's all about the heart rate. Just getting the heart rate up above 100 beats. There's some everyday activities you do, it's just 30 minutes, okay? So, any sports that you do, outdoor sports, kayaking, hiking, anything like that, that counts. Circuit training, I like that, I call that one double trouble because you're getting your resistance training in and you're getting in your cardio. You're getting your heart rate above 100 beats. Dancing, boxing, gardening or cutting the lawn, carrying your groceries. You know, you can spend 10 minutes walking to the car, carrying your groceries in and out. Do it twice in a row for fun, and getting a little bit of cardio there. Clean your house, you know, standing up and down, you're mopping the floors, you get your heart rate up doing that. Watching kids. I love watching my nieces because it gives me an excuse to get in a little bit of extra exercise, just walking up and down the stairs of the slide, going down the slide, or monkey bars, anything like that, chasing around, tobogganing, some things you do at work, meetings on the move. We suggest to your department to do, if a meeting doesn't require a lot of writing, it's just talking, why don't we go for a walk and do the meeting, you know? Commercial moves, I like doing this one too, so if I'm watching one of my favorite shows, on commercials, you know, I'll have a resistance band, I'll do some of those exercises. And recess, so